All right, welcome everyone to our Metabolic Health Awareness Night. So we are Amber and Jared Smithson, and excited to kind of raise awareness on this important issue that's happening in our country with a lot of people right now.
Yeah, we've it's not just other people, it's us too,
Yeah.
right? We all like they say that we've got a slide about this, but they say that 9 out of 10, like all the statistics show that 9 out of 10 Americans have some level of metabolic dysfunction. And
There you go.
there you go. And the actual number is 6.8% of people have optimal cardiometabolic health, right? So it's about 94%. What does that mean? It doesn't mean that it's like this dire circumstance for everybody, but we are all in and out of stages or phases of some sort of metabolic dysfunction, and life happens. The awareness that we're trying to raise is to help people have the best chance for optimal well-being and optimal metabolic health. So what does that mean? Well, first of all, we're going to talk about kind of three things, and this is the awareness we want to create. Number one, learn for yourself.
Yeah, because it's us.
Yeah,
It's not
us.
them out there. All of us have different phases of metabolic health or dysfunction, right?
Yeah, I mean, 20 years ago, we were in more advanced stages you look at that picture on the bottom left of our little new family. Our kids were little when we started this. And in this picture right here, like I was wearing a big baggy dress shirt and stuff, and I weighed about 205 pounds. I'd already lost about 25 pounds on my own. And uh but when we found the program that we now coach, I from that point I lost about 35 pounds. And the biggest thing was not the weight. The biggest thing was the symptoms of metabolic dysfunction that I was experiencing. And we're going to talk about more what those are.
I was experiencing your snoring. Just saying.
And I'm like,
happy.
I'm like, I don't snore. And she's like, you do. I promise you do.
You did. Yeah, and I was also experiencing metabolic dysfunction. I found out that I had high cholesterol. I also knew that I had low energy. It's like when you realize you're the mom who's not taking your kids to the park, but you're the mom who's teaching your 2-year-old how to load the DVD into the DVD player for themselves so you don't have to get up off the couch. Like that was me. That was my life. I was just tired all the time and having a lot of those metabolic dysfunction symptoms creeping up on me. So, what is metabolic health? So, it just means your body can efficiently do several things: convert food into energy, maintain stable blood sugar, regulate hormones, support healthy digestion, sleep well, feel energized. I put this light bulb because this looks like energized to me, just like a light bulb for your body.
Yeah, and a lot of people like here is in a nutshell, like in one sentence, if you really want to people want to simplify, they want the easy button, right? If you want to simplify our health into one sentence, you've got to become a master of controlling your insulin pump.
I was going to say your body works right.
Yeah. But in our world today, all of these symptoms and stuff are really dysregulated because people's insulin pumps are overworked. And and all of these things that Amber just read off that are on this slide, they're all a result of that insulin pump.
Yeah, and I would add having healthy muscle mass.
Oh, yeah.
But we're going to talk about that
Yeah.
later. But some of the early signs of metabolic dysfunction, I didn't want this to get too heavy, so I put this cute picture of this cat on the slide, like a sleepy cat. But This will remind you, like, sleepy cat. Am I a sleepy cat right now in my life? Like, am I experiencing early signs of metabolic dysfunction, like low energy, stubborn weight, especially around the middle? That's that visceral fat. Poor sleep, waking up tired, brain fog, low motivation, increased aches and pains, inflammation, and what Jared was talking about, the blood sugar, the cholesterol, the blood pressure concerns, things that are starting to like creep up on you. And that's what was happening with me. My cholesterol was getting high, my energy was low, I was waking up tired every single day. Definitely the aches and pains and okay, just yeah, all of that.
All of it.
All of it. All
Yeah.
y'all.
So, we downsized a couple of years ago, and our new house is half the size of our old house. And we have a smaller kitchen area and stuff. And we just don't have the best cross flow. We have to open up our garage. We have to open up our sliding glass door, our kitchen window, our front door stuff to get a cross breeze so that if we cook anything in the oven, that the smoke alarm doesn't go off.
Yeah, it's quite fun.
We've actually got it down to a science now, and but a lot of people are, and our medical delivery system. We live in the best country in the world for medical delivery. If you have an acute problem, right? But if people are suffering from these chronic dysfunctions, chronic disease, we a lot of people are the smoke alarm is going off, and the medications and a lot of the solutions, they're symptom based. And it's actually just like we're going and turning the alarm off.
Taking the battery out.
Taking the battery out, like disconnecting the wires. Like, I'm sick of this alarm going off.
Why
right?
is beeping in the middle of the night?
We want to go to the root problem and get that root problem under control rather than just taking the battery out of the smoke alarm because we're annoyed by the alarm going off.
Yeah, because as that visceral fat accumulates around your organs, this is when those the smoke alarm starts going out, the high blood pressure, high cholesterol, pre-diabetes, sleep apnea, snoring. And many people, they just receive the medications for it, but the root cause remains unaddressed. We want to actually address what's going on.
Yeah, so visceral fat is the number one enemy to metabolic health. It becomes metabolically active. Like subcutaneous fat, the soft squishy stuff under our skin is not
the dangerous.
It's not metabolically active.
Right.
Right? The visceral fat surrounds or even grows inside of our organs. The liver will actually develop fatty deposits inside the liver. And then that metabolically active visceral fat starts secreting hormones that don't even exist in a healthy body. So it surrounds and fills internal organs, and it's linked to every chronic disease.
Well, and I've heard it said by a lot of doctors that the visceral fat, it almost becomes its own organ, like its own system, like you were saying, secreting different hormones that actually don't usually exist, which I think is pretty crazy. So if you think of it like a tree, like not a healthy, thriving tree, but this is our like, sad tree. It starts with those habits of disease at the roots. Then you start getting that metabolic dysfunction that we talked about, the fatigue and the, brain fog and the snoring and like your blood pressure starts creeping up and it starts turning into abdominal obesity and visceral fat here in the middle of the tree. Then it becomes metabolic syndrome when you're seeing multiple of these like high triglycerides, high blood pressure, and then it starts going out to the actual diseases. You're seeing heart disease, you're seeing type 2 diabetes, fatty liver disease, different things like this.
Interesting story about this image here is I was having AI create this a while back, like 6 months ago. And I explained, I said, I want an image of a tree where the roots are the habits of disease. and the trunk is metabolic dysfunction. And then as the tree goes up, and the fruits and leaves are metabolic syndrome and metabolic disease. Its response to me was, I can't ethically give you an image of a thriving tree with fruit and leaves under these circumstances. So I changed it and I said, exactly, that's exactly what I want. I want an image of a dying tree.
A sad tree.
A sad tree.
Yes.
So this is what it gave us.
So what needs to happen in order for us to really address what we're talking about here, for us to start addressing these symptoms of metabolic dysfunction and things going wrong in our body? And the first thing we thought of when we were talking about this morning is you must control your insulin in order to target that visceral fat. And that's the dangerous stuff. That's the stuff we want to get rid of. It's not just, oh, I just want to look better. It's okay to want to look better. There's nothing wrong with that. But that visceral fat must be targeted. And the best way to do that is to control your insulin.
Well, there's two ways to control insulin. And these are the two things. Number one is nutrition, right? And so with nutrition, it's getting the right balance of macronutrients as well as micronutrients. It's getting the right amount of proteins, healthy carbohydrates that are fibrous, high in complex carbs, things like that, rather than the refined sugars. Healthy fats, not excessive fats, but healthy fats. And then eating on a schedule where we're able to balance that blood sugar. Blood sugar, blood glucose levels are going to determine how much insulin is necessary to be secreted by our pancreas. So this is an example of our modern disease path, right? People, the most common breakfast in America is either no breakfast at all, or a drink like a coffee or a juice or smoothie or something like that, along with a pastry or bread product.
Perfect way to
spike your blood sugar.
Exactly. And to have a roller coaster on the insulin roller coaster train. And then like a big meal, because by lunch you're starving, right? Or you need your Coke, or you need just like a pick-me-up because...
Coca-Cola.
Right? Wendy knew what I meant. How many? No, just kidding. No, it's true. Like we need I need my caffeine or whatever it might be. I need my coffee. I need my soda. But, and then it's like mid-afternoon, your blood sugar's diving again. And you're like, I need some chocolate. I need some, whatever it might be. And by dinner, it's over because you're so starving from not getting enough nutrition all day. You're going to have a huge meal and then feel like you can't get up off the couch, right? And so a better pattern for eating, for controlling that blood sugar and insulin is low glycemic index. It's fueling your body with good, healthy proteins and complex carbohydrates, but small amounts throughout the day. And what this does, it keeps your baseline, your blood glucose and your insulin just steady and even, just small, just like the rolling hills, not like the big mountains and valleys. And that's how we target that visceral fat specifically.
Yeah, so in the last few years, GLP-1s have become a huge industry in our country. Novo Nordisk is a Danish company that produces these GLP-1s. Already, it's multi tens of billions of dollars. And their goal in the next 10 years is to become a $4 trillion company. And they stated that 90% of their medications are sold to the United States.
Yeah, and think about it this way. Our food is so nutritionally deficient nowadays that we've actually created a drug so we don't want to eat it. So think of it this way. let's say that all of a sudden all of our water was completely poisoned. It's like we can't drink that water, but we're going to get thirsty. So I have an idea. What if we create a drug that makes us not thirsty so we don't drink anything? If you think about it that way, it's just kind of like comical. And
No, we
instead,
would go to the water source and we'd be like, what can we do to get clean water?
right,
We would fix the water solution,
fix the poison water.
right? So we're not saying that GLP-1s, GLP-1 is actually produced naturally inside of us.
Right.
These new GLP-1 drugs are synthetic versions of those GLPs that already exist in us in a healthy state. So, one of the things, GLP-1s are a great tool
Right.
in the short term, working with a medical professional for dosages, and hopefully over time reducing those and like to a microdose, so that we are able to develop healthy habits and not just rely on the low appetite when we're on higher dosages of the medication.
Yeah. The truth of the matter is that a lot of people will, I would say almost abuse the GLP-1 tool where they're just losing their muscle because they're not eating enough protein. They'll have GI issues. It's just less caloric intake with even less nutrition. So, and they're not necessarily developing healthy habits, but if you utilize this in conjunction with a healthy lifestyle program, it might be that thing to help you get over the hump. It might be that thing to really move you forward. So we're not against or for, it's more like using a tool correctly.
Yep, absolutely. The other way that we really balance that blood glucose and insulin response in our body is by sustaining and growing muscle.
Yeah.
So after the age of 30, we lose 3 to 8% of our skeletal muscle every decade. By the time we're 40 to 80 years old, we've lost half of our skeletal muscle unless we have been actively working to sustain that and maintain it. We do not have to lose our muscle.
We don't have to.
We don't have to. It's simply because of the sedentary lifestyles. Everything is easy, right? Like I even go around our neighborhood. We've got tons of kids in our neighborhood. I ran everywhere. I rode my old school bicycle.
When you were little?
Right? But I had
like, or like last week.
Yeah, like last week. I actually rode my mountain bike, not an e-bike and stuff. All these kids have e-bikes, or they have
electric scooters,
or the one drives, or the hoverboards, like the big road hoverboards, or the motorized skateboards, longboards and stuff. Like we just used our leg to push our skateboards, right? Everything is easier now. The average American.
We don't even roll down our window. We just like push the button, like.
I never rolled my windows down because I grew up in Oregon and it was always raining.
That's
so
true.
I just left my windows up all the time. But if the average American is spending at least 5.5 hours a day continuously sitting, and the average American is sitting between 10 and 15 hours a day. We don't have to do anything anymore. And so we've gotten to such a level of sedentarianism that a 20-minute walk or something like that just isn't going to cut it. It's not going to work. It worked 50, 60, 100 years ago because people were so active outside of just taking that walk. But now we actually have to actively and formally set aside time to work our muscles, to create that resistance so that we can maintain the muscle mass that we have. So change is possible. Our body is designed to respond positively at any age. There's actually a study that they did, Peter Attia talked about this study where they took 20-year-olds and then they took 75 to 85-year-olds and they tested a 3-rep max lift on a leg extension machine. And they had a guided program for both groups of people. And after 6 weeks, they retested them And so they're working with personal trainers on guidance with nutrition and just a basic workout routine to increase their leg strength over this 6-week period. And after 6 weeks, the 20-year-olds showed an 82% increase in that 3-rep max strength. The 75 to 85-year-old group showed a 78% increase in the 3-rep max.
Almost the same. Yeah.
Almost the same. They may not have been lifting the same amount of weight, but they were able to increase their strength equally as much. So that shows that at any age that we are capable of creating that positive change in our bodies.
Yeah. And we have a lot of great solutions. Jared and I have been health coaches now for over 17 years. And the cool thing is that our lifestyle program plus coaching is a huge key for helping people move forward. For example, some of the benefits of our metabolic reset program are 17 times more fat loss and 10 times more weight loss than people on their own. Also, a 14% reduction in visceral fat loss. And this study was a 16-week study, and 98% lean muscle mass retention. Now, this is a huge important number because a lot of times when people try to lose weight or they're doing whatever fad diet or grapefruit diet or fasting or water fast, I don't even know. People do crazy stuff these days. And so, on average, when someone, for example, is doing a GLP-1, on average, up to half of their weight loss is muscle loss. We don't want that. We want to keep our muscle. In fact, we want to grow our muscle versus our program with a 98% lean muscle mass retention. That's a 2% loss.
Yeah.
That's statistically significant. And it takes a lot of different factors, but I think the biggest thing is just like knowing what you're looking for. Because there's probably a lot of people doing a water fast or a grapefruit diet or whatever else that they're doing that they are just really trying their best. Like they really are, honest to goodness, just trying to get healthier. And they maybe don't know about muscle protein synthesis. They maybe don't know how much protein they're supposed to eat or in what times during the day, but really having balanced nutrition, regular fueling. We want to fuel our bodies. We want to feed our bodies to feed our muscles. We don't want to starve our bodies and starve our muscles. And blood sugar support is super important. We talked about that. Reducing inflammation, weight resistance training. So these are all things that we promote in our lifestyle program.
Yeah, and a few other things that we really promote are bone health.
Yeah.
Right? Our programs are scientifically proven to improve bone health, joint health, musculoskeletal health, digestive health, mental well-being, right? Reduction of, like in that mental well-being, reduction of things like depression and anxiety that are associated with that high visceral fat. 14% reduction of visceral fat. People are like, oh, what does that mean? This is what it means. We just listened to the vice president of clinical affairs with our company. She's this amazing researcher, and she said that 14% reduction of visceral fat in just 16 weeks is a 20% risk reduction in chronic diseases.
That's
overall.
Yeah.
Heart disease is included in that. And 30 to 40% risk reduction of type 2 diabetes, just in the 16-week trial period.
Yeah, that's huge. And, we want to encourage people to be part of the solution. Because maybe you're listening to this, maybe you're looking to get healthier yourself. You're part of all of us who are 94% of us who are not optimally, perfectly healthy metabolically, right? But when it comes down to it, metabolic dysfunction is an epidemic and there really is a solution. And, maybe being part of the solution, maybe you are super fit and healthy and that's great. But maybe you know someone who could use a little extra help in this department. And maybe it's as easy as saying, you know what, I've been learning about metabolic health. I know someone who may be able to help. And then connecting them with a coach. Hey, friend, here's the health coach I mentioned. I thought you'd enjoy connecting. So, being part of the solution means getting that education for yourself, working on your own health, listening when others start saying things like, I'm so tired these days. Oh, I just can't. I got the brain fog, I got the snoring spouse, whatever it is, like we were. Listening for that and connecting people to get solutions. Okay. We have a metabolic self-check form. And if you want to fill this out, I'll drop the link in the chat as well. There we go. We're going to do a quick little drawing for a metabolic scale. So if you want to enter the drawing, go ahead and scan that or click if you're on your phone, it's easier to go to the chat and click the link that's in the chat and fill that out. We're going to do a drawing. And it looks like we've got Jenny, Wayne, Wendy, Jean on right now. And then you get some additional drawings if you select yes for a metabolic health consultation. And then you get additional drawings for if you put a first name of people who you think might benefit, we're not going to call them and we're not asking you for their phone number. This is an exercise and have you thinking about like being part of the solution for the metabolic health epidemic that's going on. And so just list first names. It's just you being part of the solution, starting to think about others outside of yourself. And so.
And while you're filling that out, the reason that we encourage people to think of other people is one of the first studies that we read about that was done shortly before we started coaching. A combination of University of San Diego and Harvard, and they wanted to see what the driving force behind people being healthy, their health trajectory changing. And they showed that that we are 171% likely to follow the health trajectory of our closest friends, right? Positive or negative. So if we have a bunch of friends who are getting more unhealthy, we have a high likelihood of following their trajectory. But if we speak up and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to take the lead and I'm going to get healthier. I want to feel better. I want to have more energy. And we start to bring our friends into that circle. We can create that likelihood that they'll have that 171% likelihood of following us rather than us following them.
I love that. Okay, I'm going to stop the recording. So if you're watching the recording right now, make sure you ask the person who sent this to you for the link. And yeah, thanks. Thanks so much, everybody. You guys are awesome.